Hey there, awesome accounting student. Mark Franke here. This is a video for Accounting 101, Chapter 11, and this is focused on dividends and declaring dividends and how they work. And we will look at problem 11-4B, which is in your book on page 448. This is the Hovo Corporation, and we're just going to go through the requirements that they've asked for based on the information that they've provided. In the book, they've given us two statements of stockholders' equity, one at the beginning of the year and one at the end of the year. One at the beginning of the year and one at the end of the year. So we're going to use that information to prepare this analysis of this information. The first thing they want us to do is to figure out how many shares are outstanding at each one of the dividend declaration dates. And the dividend declaration dates are, and I'll put them up here, 2/15/2020, 5/15/2020, 8/15/2020, and 11/15/2020. So, in other words, they're going to pay a dividend every quarter. We'll just put a little total column out there. And let me make this bigger just so that you can see it easier. Oh, shoot. I put the dates in the wrong place. So let's just copy and paste it down here, and then we can delete them up here. All right. I just put those in the wrong place. So we had from the statement, and this is at the beginning of the year, 17,000 shares that were outstanding at the beginning of the year. And nothing happened to change that between the beginning of the year and February the 15th. So our shares outstanding are just going to be 17,000 shares. Then on the 15th of May, we still have those 17,000 shares that were outstanding, but we purchased some treasury stock, which means that the number of shares outstanding went down 1,000 shares. So when we total this up at the end, on that dividend declaration date, which is on May the 15th, we had 16,000 shares. Then on August the 15th, again, still 17,000 shares that were there at the beginning. We had the 1,000 that we purchased of treasury stock, and nothing else happened between May and August. So we still have 16,000 shares outstanding. And for November the 15th, we had 17,000 shares. We still, $1,000, again, we're just starting at the beginning of the year and making these adjustments. We paid a stock dividend. Now let's go down here and we'll make a little schedule or a calculation. And I'm just going to put a star. And I'm going to say stock dividend equals 16,000 shares times 12.5%. which is equal to 2,000 shares. That's how we know what the stock dividend was. So we'll add 2,000 shares, which means at the end of November and at the end of the year, we had 18,000 shares. And if you look that were outstanding, if you look at the ending statement of equity, it says there's 19,000 shares issued and 1,000 shares in treasury stock, which means that the shares outstanding is 18,000 because shares outstanding is the number that we've issued minus the treasury stock. In each one of these situations, we're paying 40 cents share, which means 6,800 for the first dividend, 6,400 for the second dividend, 6,400 for the third dividend, and the last dividend was 7,200. So if we total these up, total dividends for the year, 26,800. That's our number. Then they've asked us to figure out how much is the capitalization, and I'll just make this smaller so we can still see what's up above. Calculation of the stock dividend. So we had the number of shares. This is requirement number 3. That was 2,000 shares. That's the calculation right above. The market value at the date of declaration was $42 a share. So the total amount capitalized, in other words, when we issued these shares of stock, basically we gave all the shareholders some additional shares. They had a market value of $42 a share, so we in effect capitalized this stock dividend at $84,000, and then we have to split it between the par value, so the amount to common is 2,000 shares times the $20 par. So that's going to be 40,000. So the amount that's remaining that goes into additional paid-in capital is $44,000. That's requirement number 3. Anytime we issue a stock dividend, we're going to capitalize it at what the market value is, but we have to split it between the par value, and then whatever's left over goes into additional paid-in capital. Requirement 4 is to calculate the amount, the price per share of the treasury stock that was there. So we had the amount in the account, and this is based on what's sitting there at the end of the year. You can see there's $40,000 in the treasury stock account, and there's the number of shares is 2,000, same 2,000. So the price, oh, sorry, it's 1,000. I apologize. It's not the stock dividend, it's the treasury stock. 1,000 shares. And so the price per share Sometimes the fingers don't want to work very well. $40 per share. That's requirement number 4. And then the last thing they've asked us to do is they want us to back into net income. Obviously, when we prepare financial statements in the real world, we're going to know what net income is. But as we did way back in chapter 2, I think, maybe even chapter 1, we can figure it out if we know what the beginning balance was in retained earnings, which is $270,000. In fact, I'm going to make that even more obvious. So we're going to say beginning balance in retained earnings. And I might have to make that a little smaller so it'll fit better. There we go. How about that? There it is. $270,000. We had cash dividends coming from our schedule over here of $26,800. We had stock dividends coming from over here of $84,000. That's the amount that was capitalized. It was taken out of retained earnings and moved into common stock and additional paid-in capital. And so the balance, well, let's just call this a subtotal. $159,200. So the ending balance in retained earnings, and we'll make that one a little smaller too. Was $295,200. So net income is going to be the balance in retained earnings minus that subtotal of $136,000. Now we can prove our answer by doing basically a statement of retained earnings. So we have beginning less cash dividends less stock dividends plus net income equals the ending retained earnings. Now, normally we would want net income to come first, but I'm just kind of doing this on the fly. So, because we always in accounting want to add things before we subtract, so net income would be there, but that's okay. We're just doing a little proof. And we should end up with the ending retained earnings, which we do, of $295,200. Okay, that's problem 11-4B, and that covers both cash and stock dividends in a corporate environment. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you again next time.